Bad news for Major League Baseball fans. It'll be temporary, but we've got bad news for Major League Baseball fans on today's show. We've got the NFL Pick'em presented by Pick Six Vodka coming up on the show, and seismic moves in college football. Two coaching changes, Shawnee, that say a lot about where the sport currently is. Plus, Shawnee, we'll talk to who?
Michael Rapaport, of course, actor and comedian who is going to be performing locally here in the capital region. He, of course, then has to join us on the show.
That's kind of the way it works. If you are in entertainment and you're coming to Albany, we are bound to bother you. Let's get it going on Onorato and Bagnardi.
This is Onorato and Bagnardi, brought to you by Outfit House.
All right, here we go, Shawnee. Week 13 in the NFL. We'll get into that. We'll talk about Brian Kelly, and we'll talk about Lincoln Riley and those moves in college football. One of them stunned me. We'll do our picks as well here, obviously. And like you said, we'll talk with actor and comedian Michael Rapaport coming up in about 10, 12 minutes or so right here on Onorato and Bagnardi. But Sean, the news of the day is the lockout in Major League Baseball. It's nothing surprising. I get it, but it is still certainly the biggest topic given the free agents frenzy we saw, knowing there was this 11:59 deadline December 1st. And here we are now on a Thursday. The owners have locked out the players. What does it mean? It means players can't go to the facility. It means players and team personnel can't communicate. It means teams can't trade or sign guys. So it is a dead period in the sport now until they get a new CBA.
Right, and that is, of course, the more significant part. That's the bigger consideration right now, as opposed to, oh my God, are we going to have baseball this year? I know that's, of course, an outside chance that things could always spiral down and maybe don't, but this doesn't feel like that. By the way, how great would it be if you got locked out? Can you imagine showing up to work and the door's locked? You'd be like, all right, we're going to the bar. We're done. Let's go.
It's bound to happen someday that you or I will show up at News Channel 13, side door, where we use the key fob, and there will be a day it stops working.
Yeah, well, they turned it off. That's it. I'm out of here. Yeah. So I honestly had to do some research on this, man, because
do you have concern that do you have concern that games will be missed?
No, because, and here's why. I had to look this up. Like, what is the biggest sticking point here, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So this is an article, Jesse Rogers on ESPN. Basically, here he says that with the emergence of analytics in front offices, fewer and fewer second and third tier players are getting paid when they finally become free agents, right? Mm-hmm. And that they'd rather be paid when they're younger, because that's obviously when they're in their prime. So is that going to be something that holds up the season? Something related to second and third tier players? You know what
I mean? It's financial, which all of these things eventually become financial. Sure. And somebody else, there are also the reports that a sticking point is the expanded playoffs. That, to me, they all just kind of become negotiating ploys. It is about players getting paid earlier. MLB service time, start the clock sooner, get these guys into free agency before they're 28, 29, 30 years old, depending upon when they are called up from the minors. That's the biggest thing here is, from a player's perspective, we got to get our guys paid sooner. Because you're right. Once you hit 30, it feels like Major League Baseball is telling you, you don't have great value anymore. Now, Marcus Semion's 31 and he gets a monster deal from the Rangers, and Freddie Freeman's 32 and he'll get a big deal. But these are guys who are the crop, right? The cream of the crop here. And you just mentioned it's those second and third tier guys who are just kind of the vets who aren't finding contracts beyond the age of 30 the way they used to. So get them paid sooner. What are you saying? That those guys don't have value anymore?
No, but I'm saying that in general, they have less value, so they're not going to be paid as well. That's how it works. That's how it's supposed to work. I mean, look at the contracts in baseball. Look at what we've seen already with Scherzer and some of the, you can't look at this and say, well, guys in this sport are underpaid. And I get it. You've got your elite class, but so what? So what? That's how it's supposed to be. The elite guys are supposed to get paid more. The second and third tier guys are not going hungry. So it's hard for me as, average Joe American over here to feel bad for any of these guys, or certainly to think that will be something worth holding up the season over.
Yeah, and like you said, it won't. And I think this will be a very short work stoppage. It's the first lockout since 1990. It's the first overall stoppage in general, which was a strike year, 94. It bled into 95. So baseball's gotten this thing figured out for a long time. And now it just kind of feels like it had to happen at some point. They had to find something to argue about that was going to force a lockout or a strike. And so here we are. I'm with you. I don't think spring training is in jeopardy. I certainly don't think the season is in jeopardy. We ran it on News Channel 13 this morning. Emily DeVito, a reporter, said, hey, 70 days until spring training. I still think this gets done. I did read a report this morning that if we don't want to miss games, they need to strike a new CBA agreement by early March. So
a long way away.
Yeah, it is and it isn't. I mean, it just kind of feels like December is going to be a throwaway month here, right? You're going to hit the holidays. They've already canceled the winter meetings. Okay. It maybe the real work doesn't start to begin until the first week in January. Then the clock is ticking at, fewer than 60 days to that arbitrary deadline of early March.
But that's how these things always go, right? I mean,
yes.
Lawmakers don't pass any bills until the last week of the session. I mean, it just is what it is, right? Here's Jeff commenting, they're not getting paid. Look at the salaries, right? So, that's the thing. It's like, as the average American, which we are, it's hard for us to look at it a certain way. And I get it. The union shouldn't care about that, right? They've got to look at this from their perspective and do their job and try to secure the best deals for their players. I mean, I understand why people get frustrated because the economics are so hard for us to comprehend, but it's not for them at that level. So,
and it's all relative, right? If you find out your company's revenue is skyrocketing and you're not getting a raise, what's wrong with this picture? Right. I mean, we would all think that. So if baseball is going to implement some things like an expanded playoffs, and we saw the TV contracts for the postseason, or people say people don't watch baseball. Well, TBS feels very differently. Fox feels very, very differently. The postseason TV contracts are huge. So if I'm the players union, I'm thinking to myself, well, then they want to expand the playoffs. Hey, we'll do that, but you've got to meet us on a financial point here because you're going to make more money as a company, if you will. We want our guys to see some of that revenue stream. That makes sense. That to me becomes a point of fairness in a lot of ways.
What's also frustrating, though, for me as a fan, is that we've identified a dozen things that we would change about baseball instantly, and none of them are a sticking point for either side, right? For baseball or the players. It's like those are the things that we would like to see change. Just the way the game has evolved, we would like to see that changed a little bit, different rules and things like that. But none of that is on the table here. This is all about, as it always is, the economics of it.
There was a big deal that did get done prior to that 11:59 deadline. Marcus Stroman going to the Cubs on a 3-year, $71 million deal. So he leaves the Mets, had an under 500 record last year, 10-13, but he had a really good ERA, just shade over 3. And he had a major league leading 33 starts. Still a good pitcher at 30 years old. A lot of money, 3 years, $71 million. 25, 25, and 21, I think, is the breakdown for Stroman. So that's one big deal that got done in what was a flurry of activity in the last week or so. Who is your biggest winner in free agency so far? Now that we'll take a little bit of a break, catch our breath, and then get back to it at some point.
Well, by the way, with Stroman, second-tier player. So not bad money for a second-tier player. I know he may not be identified that way or seen that way maybe around baseball. He might be valued a little higher than that.
But he's not an ace. So if you if you aren't an ace, if you aren't a one on a pitching staff in a rotation, then you are a second or third tier guy.
Right.
And a second or third tier guy, you make 25 a year. That's not so bad.
Not so bad. Yeah. So maybe we won't hold up the season over. Who's my biggest winner so far? I think there are a lot of teams in this conversation, which is interesting, right? There are, and also there's not a clear team because
I will tell you, I had a very difficult time identifying one team that I loved as having really improved this offseason, where I looked at the moves and I said, yes, now this team they've made big moves, but that they would be markedly better.
Yeah. I'm going with the Mets. And it's mainly because they got the biggest guy, right? I mean, that he is what's been a bigger signing than that one signing for the Mets? What do you think? I mean, it's not like Trout's on the move. I know there are really good players bouncing around.
Yep.
But Max Scherzer?
Yeah.
So for me, that one piece puts them.
I told you I like the Starling Marte signing. I think
that's where I was going next too. Is that it's not just one piece; it's two. I think you got the biggest, and then another really good one. So I'll say the Mets here, and it's not really a biased pick for me because we talked about Stroman when we did the rapid reaction during the week on it about Scherzer. Did I say Stroman? Scherzer. I like him a lot as a pitcher. Don't love him as a guy. He's obviously older. It's a lot of money, but he's still Max Scherzer, and he's a bulldog, and he's a guy you now pair with Jacob deGrom. And I think that's what you have to look at too is, how these new pieces fit with the team they're going to. That 1-2 punch, that to me is the headline.
How about this? In Steve Cohen's 2 years, right? I mean, it's not even a full 2, but you get what I'm saying here. In Steve Cohen's first 2 years as the Mets owner, not only did they make the biggest trade last offseason, now they've arguably signed the biggest free agent this offseason.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just saying, as a fan of that team, whether or not it works now, and they've clearly set up the window to be a 2 or 3 year window.
Right.
You have to love the long-term approach, or I should say, the long-term optimism here. If you're a fan of the Mets, that like, hey, we may not win right away, and maybe we don't win with Scherzer even, but damn, this Cohen guy's going to keep trying.
That's it.
He didn't hit it all last year, but he's going to keep trying, which you have to love.
You have to. It's not his fault Lindor didn't hit, obviously. Yeah. And that's the thing, because as a fan, you're always all in. Fans are always all in. And if there's ever the impression that the team isn't, then that gets annoying. That gets frustrating. You want to go spend your money to go see these games and invest a lot of time, too much time, 3.5 hours watching a game. You want the team to at least be invested. And that's, of course, what Cohen has shown over these 2 seasons.
Is there a team less in than the Braves right now? Freddie Freeman says he wants 6 years, $180 million. That's $30 a year for a guy who's 32, won an MVP just a season ago, just coming off a world championship year. He's the face of the franchise. He's been the cornerstone of that team since Chipper Jones left. And they're screwing around at 6 years, 180. Let's go. If he says to me, this is what I want, I would tell him, draw up the paperwork. Let's get this thing done before midnight and before there's a lockout. But now you've got teams like the Dodgers and the Yankees who are still in play, and it just should not be. And look, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but maybe it isn't all on Atlanta. Maybe Freddie's posturing a little bit here. But the longer this goes, okay, the more annoyed the superstar becomes. Well, and you talk about fractured relationships between superstar and front office, but not even just the superstar, the guys in the locker room who really respect Freddie, who now start to look at ownership and management, and maybe they're coming up on a free agent year like a Dansby Swanson, and they say, to heck with these guys. Look at the way they messed around with Freddie. It's such a bad look when it should be a slam dunk.
It is. I agree with you. Freeman should be an automatic guy for the Braves. There's always going to be the posturing, like you say. There's always going to be that back and forth. I'd be frustrated that this didn't get done before the lockout, because now things are on hold. And I know I said at the top of the show, that's that's the significant thing here of this lockout, more than are we going to be worried about baseball games. But that being said, it doesn't mean that stuff can't and won't still get negotiated off the record, and they could get something done, even if it's just a handshake agreement, so that whenever this thing ends, even if it's in March, that it's just sign the dotted line and everything's okay.
Here's my winner, and again, I told you I don't love my answer, but I couldn't come up with a team that was really any better. And I'll give you the two aspects here why I'm picking the Rangers. Spent a lot of money to get Marcus Semien and Corey Seager, but you're going to get a lot of home runs now from the middle of your infield. Semien at second, Seager at short. So I love the upgrade there. They added to the pitching staff too. Good. Okay. I'm also looking at what I assume the Astros are going to lose, and that's in a guy like Correa. So while you're in the division, you're helping yourselves. You're also seeing maybe the team that continues to win the AL West lose one of their best players. Texas so far, maybe the best offseason. But again, I'm not going to pick them to win the division. You know what I mean? It's not like what they've done all of a sudden. They're now the top of the AFC West. I just like that they're being aggressive and they're seeing Houston lose a little bit, you know?
Yeah. The American League is what you meant. The AFC. You're already in pick six.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. How are they going to do against the Chiefs this week?
I like them as a dog.
Yeah. So, okay, let me ask you the question this way then. Are the Rangers better positioned to win in their division than you think the Mets are after their moves?
No. No. So you're saying my answer should be the Mets? That's what you're telling me right now?
No, I'm not. Because again, it really comes down to just one big move for me with the Mets. So it just depends how you want to classify the winner of free agency. I guess I just like to look at it as adding to what you already have in the position that you're already in, and now how you are repositioned moving forward. But no, I mean, look, if you're going piece by piece, it could very well be the Rangers. But that's the good thing about this offseason so far, is that there are teams getting in the mix here. We're all just kind of sitting around waiting for the Yankees. But I like that it's not just one or two teams going out getting everybody.
Yeah, look, the Angels signed Syndergaard. The Mariners signed Robbie Ray. The Rangers have been active. So those are three teams alone in the AL West that have made significant moves. Nick is noticing your mug bags. He says,
now it's better. Actually, it's bitter and spoiled half the time.
I would think instead of better, it's bitter. But okay, Nick. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I got you. Good morning to Jason. Good morning, brother. How are you, man? Thanksgiving was good. I hope same for you with the fam. Carol is our viewer picker this week with our NFL Pick'em presented by Pick Six Vodka. So we
got a big thank you coming to Carol too that we can talk about when we make our picks. Big thank you.
We sure do. Jacqueline was watching as well. My mother-in-law. I think you're like somehow contractually obligated to watch something like this just because, we're now related through marriage.
The papers have been signed. Do you call her mom?
I don't. I call her Jacqueline, just like I did.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, Dick and Jacqueline. You're anti.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I think it's weird too. There are plenty of people who do it, right? We may be in the minority.
To each their own. I'm not here to judge, even though that's exactly what we're here to do because it's a podcast. But to each their own.
It's exactly what you just did, not what we're not here to do. It's exactly what you just did.
Yeah. Now, look, stepmom or somebody who helped raise you, a guardian. Sure. Mother-in-law, it's not mom. You don't go mom.
Listen, I don't know who you're arguing with here. Not me. All right. When we come back here on Onorato and Bagnardi, our guest this week is actor and comedian Michael Rapaport. Funny guy. And he's coming to the Funny Bone, coincidentally enough, at Crossgates Mall Friday, Saturday night. He's got a couple of shows both nights. Albany.funnybone.com is the place to get tickets. We're going to talk with Michael Rapaport next year on Onorato and Bagnardi. Monster Knicks fan.
He is.
This will be a lot of fun.
I'm gonna stay in this shirt. Why don't you go ahead and dress down for this interview?
I like that idea. That's exactly what I'm going to do. All right, we're back right after this on Onorato and Bagnardi.
Black smoke, raging fire, flood waters rising higher and higher. And when it's over, well, what then? Will it ever look like home again? Professional fire restoration, cleaning up a messy situation. Ceiling to floor, even better than before. Professional fire restoration.
Teams, athletes, organizations. We're transforming the custom apparel industry through product and purpose. Claim your crown.
And now, back to Onorato and Bagnardi. Brought to you by Alpin House.
Welcome back to Onorato and Bagnardi. Sean, we have a couple of rules on this show, right? We generally don't like to have guests on who are better looking or funnier than the two of us.
Yep.
We are losing out today. A professional comedian, thank goodness, Michael Rapaport, is with us on the show on Onorato and Bagnardi. Michael, what's up, man?
I'm sorry. I got to stop because I'm just a little unclear. So I could assume maybe I'm funnier, but I mean, as far as better looking, I don't think there's any discussion that I'm better looking by far than both of you guys. And
right.
If the audience wants to chime in, they could certainly chime in. Chris, I mean, we definitely are in the ginger, you got the hair and all that stuff. As far as you, Bags, I mean, come on.
I'm
so
lost.
I mean, whether or not I'm funny remains to be seen. But as far as looks, I mean, the people, come on.
Yeah.
Speaks for itself. That's why we do visual show. Let the people decide immediately on first glance. You see at the bottom of your screen, Michael coming to Albany, the Funny Bone at Crossgates, Friday, December 3rd, Saturday, December 4th. And there it is on your screen, albany.funnybone.com to check out his show. All right, here's my question, because I saw it on Twitter, and Bags and I say it about people all the time. People are the worst. And you experienced that at one of your shows recently. So you've had to kick people out. But all of that said, do you feel like you're enjoying performing in front of people again after not being able to do it for so long?
Oh, yeah. I love doing the live shows. It's so much fun. It's so spontaneous. It's unpredictable. 99.9% of the times I've had nothing but great times. And, that was an unusual situation, and it turned out to be a great show and a funny moment. But it's a comedy show, and I don't mind hecklers, and I like going back and forth with the audience in a fun way. But no one wants to be made to feel uncomfortable, particularly the audience. I certainly, don't have an agenda to make anybody feel uncomfortable. And as far as being back out, I'm happy to be back on the road. I'm excited to come to the capital of New York and explore Albany a little bit and hang out at the mall there where the Funny Bone is, and try to get some chocolate chip cookies and not tell my wife about it.
How much preparation goes into getting ready for one specific show? I mean, how long are you working on your material leading up to it? How long does it take you to kind of memorize your sets and get into a groove where you feel like, okay, yeah, I've got this thing down, I'm ready to go?
I mean, it's sort of never ending. I certainly haven't perfected it yet. I mean, I love doing comedy. I'm not an expert. I don't think I'm, an expert level by any mean. I put on a great show, but you want to give people come out. There's a lot of options. There's streaming. There's basketball games. There's football games. So if people come to see you, do a show, you want to give them an incredible show, and you want to give them a night, and you want to make it all worth the parking and the hassle and the drinks and the chicken tenders and wherever else they're spending their hard-earned money on. So I give it my all. Every show is different. Every show is, it's prepared, but it's also very spontaneous. I like to mess around with the crowd a lot, but, in a fun way. And, I talk about everything. I talk about how great looking I am, as I did at the top of the show here. because that really is just when people think Michael Rapaport, they think cheekbones, jawline, just like the nose, and just like the skin tone, the broad shoulders. So obviously I have to acknowledge that when I go on stage. But I like to have a good time.
Bags, that leads into the story you want to share with Michael here about how he's remembered.
Well, yeah. So I was looking, at your resume online the other day, and I said to my girlfriend, "Hey, we're gonna have Michael Rapaport on and show her your picture." Like, "Oh yeah, Phoebe's boyfriend from Friends." I was like, he's done some things in the last 20 years as well, but being a part of that show, like, is that something that still comes up for you a lot, man?
Oh yeah, and it's no problem. Friends is kind of like, for my generation, I'm a little older than you guys, I think, even though I look younger. Again, back to the looks. It's kind of like the Brady Bunch. It just keeps playing. It finds new fans, and there's so much nostalgia with it. So I'm happy to be a part of that iconic show. And obviously, I would love your girlfriend to be more informed about the great, iconic career of Michael Rapaport. And I say my name in the third party sometimes because why not? Listen, for doing this for as long as I've been doing it, I'm happy to be recognized and acknowledged in any way, shape, or form, to be honest with you.
Well, we did talk a couple of years ago for radio, and you were sitting side by side with Ice Cube. We watched the Big Three, so we know that obviously you're a huge Hoops fan. And I do want to ask you about that in a second, but because we're talking Michael Rapaport resume here, all due respect to your comedy career, I think maybe the most favorite thing of mine that you've done is the documentary you did on Tribe Called Quest. It was one of the first concerts I ever went to. Tribe opened for Beastie Boys at Madison Square Garden, and it is still one of the best concerts I've ever been to. Why was that a passion project for you?
That's really cool that you got to see that. I love Tribe. I grew up with them. I grew up with hip hop, and I'm honored to have made the film. It was challenging, but especially with the passing of the great Phife Dawg, the 5-foot assassin, the funky diabetic. I'm so honored that we were able to make the movie. And, I think we inspired some other people to make other films about other great hip hop groups and artists that they love. So I'm very proud of Beats, Rhymes, and Life. Yeah. I think I remember you telling me that story at Big Three.
Probably did.
So we got to get into the hoops here. Chris and I do mostly sports on
Let's do it.
So we know you're a big Knicks guy. Chris mentioned to you before you came on, I'm a big Nets guy. We don't have to delve too deep into last night specifically, but give me your thoughts.
Well, let's just ask this, Sean. Let's just ask this. Let me just ask this.
By the way, how old have you become lately? Sam Cassell was a point guard in the Nets when I started my fandom. Just so you know, I'll preface it with that.
Okay, excuse me, Sean. Okay, how old are you, Sean?
I'm 35.
Okay, so before you liked the Brooklyn Nets, who are you rooting for, Sam? Sean?
Who was I rooting for? Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody. No. I just said Sam Cassell was the point guard of the Nets when I started following this team. It's been Nets. Okay. Yeah.
I got it, but I'm saying before the Brooklyn Nets were in Brooklyn,
you
were rooting for
New Jersey.
Blank.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so you so you were a New Jersey Nets fan before you were a Brooklyn Nets fan.
Yes, sir.
I'll accept that because there's a lot of people in the 5 boroughs in New York City that are all of a sudden Brooklyn Nets fans and forgot about the fact that they lived it. Now, if you're, 18, 17, 16, and you're, the last 10, 12 years, however long the Nets were in Brooklyn, I accept that because you were a kid. But as far as adults, and you're a young adult, Sean, but if you said you're a New Jersey Nets fan, I'll take it at face value. Listen, last night was a great game. I'm glad that legitimate competitive basketball is happening in New York. That game was tighter than I thought, despite the fact that the Knicks are banged up. And basketball is back in New York. I mean, I don't think either one of these teams is a championship team. I don't think the voiceless leader for the voiceless, Kyrie Irving, is coming back. I don't think he should be allowed back. I think he's betrayed his team and Brooklyn and Brooklyn Nets fans. And but it was a great game. It was a tight game. I didn't think the Knicks were going to be as competitive because of the injuries and because of the lineup stuff. But it was a good game. It was a fun game, and I think that's the most important thing is that basketball is thriving in New York City.
Michael, with even at full strength, what are the Knicks missing for you?
We need that guy. You know, Julius is great, and I think Julius at his very, very best is a strong 2, but we need a guy who could get buckets anytime, anywhere on the road, under duress. But they're a competitive team. They're a good team. They play with energy. I feel like they have the essence and the heart of some of the other Knicks teams that have resonated with the fans. And I think that's what's happening now. You know, New Yorkers are sensitive to BS. And I think that team has and understands what it means to play in Madison Square Garden and to represent the New York Knicks with all the crap that we've been through in the last 20 years with the ups and downs and the coaches and the Oakley this and the Phil Jackson that. So I'm just happy that they're competitive again.
Yeah, Chris and I agree with you that they're missing that guy, but you have to respect the job Tibbs has done and really turned around the culture of that team. So certainly headed the right direction. Even as a Nets fan, I can respect the job that they're doing there. So you mentioned you don't think either of them a championship team. Who you've got right now circled at the top of your list? Obviously, Milwaukee's the defending champions. The Lakers have retooled Westbrook. What are you thinking championship-wise this year?
You didn't just throw out the Lakers to him, did you? I mean, that is – come on. They have no chance.
Lakers ain't winning.
They have LeBron James. You have no chance to win a championship.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I don't think you could ever count them out. I think there's going to be some trades. I like Sean, have been learnt to never really count LeBron James out. But unless something drastic happens over there, they're not a championship team to win the championship. I mean, they can make a push if they're healthy. You know, who knows? But right now I feel like it's Milwaukee and Golden State. I think it's going to be the Milwaukee Bucks and the Golden State Warriors, even though Phoenix beat Golden State last night and Steph played poorly. We know that he's never going to have that bad of a shooting night. Again, that I guess was the worst shooting night of his career. And, you know, Phoenix is good. It's still early, you know, but I have to say Milwaukee in the East and, you know, coming out of the East with Miami being competitive, Philly being competitive, Brooklyn being ridiculously competitive, and Phoenix and the Warriors are the two out of the West right now. And I think there's going to be some trades, some pickups, some John Wall, some I can't imagine Ben Simmons and Kyrie Irving not playing the whole season. It would be if they don't play basketball the whole season, I think that the future of guaranteed money is in jeopardy for players going forward.
Boy, that's a great point. And it's funny, Michael Bags and I were talking about just Kyrie yesterday. And he says to me, well, what about Ben? And I literally was like, I think I completely forgot Ben Simmons wasn't even playing. Like, I know it's not a storyline anymore.
It's crazy. Both of them. It's crazy. You know, it just goes to show that the game and the league will go on without anybody. You know, it recuperated from, you know, Magic and Larry and those guys being gone. And then obviously Michael Jordan and the Allen Iversons and the Shaqs and the Kobes. And at some point, LeBron will be done. But there's nobody bigger than the league, and especially not these two knuckleheads.
No, yeah. Do you put Brooklyn back in that championship conversation if Kyrie is somehow there, though, right?
I mean, I put them in the conversation right now. I mean, they you know, when Joe Harris comes back, and it's still early. I mean, with Harden and Durant, they're a problem. They're a major problem, and they haven't even had what's my guy's name? The big guy.
Claxton.
Yeah. So you know, I know they're not at full strength.
Yeah. Who were some of the guys you really liked growing up? Who were your favorite players when you were young?
Dr. J, Magic, Larry Bird, World B. Free, Bernard King. I mean, all those guys. Sidney Moncrief. You know. Sugar Ray Richardson, Michael Ray Richardson, Patrick Ewing, you know, Chris Mullin. You know, I mean, I grew up, basketball is my first love. And I mean, I could go on and on. Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, you know, tons of guys, just all of them.
Yeah.
I was a big Sonics fan in the 90s.
Yeah, they were fun.
Look, you're coming to the Capital Region. This is the home of Pat Riley, Schenectady, New York. Riles, obviously an icon in that sport, and Barry Kramer is a guy who was a Knick as well. So there are Knicks roots here in the Capital Region, Michael. And branching off that, by the way, we should mention, we didn't do this yet, bad on us, the 30 for 30 when the Garden was Eden. I mean, that will speak to Michael's fandom as a Knicks guy. But for somebody who's experienced the Garden the way we will never, and many of our viewers will never, right? When you get like those primo seats and the Garden is rocking, man, what is that like?
I mean, it's everything that everybody, says about it. Just there's something about the energy in Madison Square Garden. It's the only NBA arena with all its history intact. There's no more Fabulous Forum where Magic and Kareem and them went at it, and Kobe and Shaq started their reign. There's no more Chicago Stadium. There's no more Boston Garden. The Madison Square Garden is the same building, and despite the fact that it even had some reconstruction and some revamping, it's the same building, it's the same floor, it's the same ceiling. You could feel the smoke, the cigars from when Willis Reed came out, from Ali Frazier when they duked it out for 15 rounds, from when Hulk Hogan body slammed Andre the Giant. That's Madison Square Garden. It's the world's most famous arena, and there's nothing like being in it, good, bad, or indifferent. It's just a thing. You can't put your finger on it. There's just something about New Yorkers, New York fans, particularly Knicks fans, but even for a Stevie Wonder concert, a Billy Joel concert, or a Rangers game, it's a special place.
Or Tribe and the Beastie Boys.
Tribe and the Beastie Boys. Yep.
Yeah. All right, Michael, we'll let you get out of here, man. I'm looking forward to it. You said you want chocolate chip cookies. I'll see if I can deliver on that. December 3rd and 4th at the Funny Bone at Cross Gates Mall, and the information's at the bottom of your screen, albany.funnybone.com, to get your tickets now, because his shows sell out. They do in New York City. They're certainly going to do that in Albany, New York, man. Michael, thank you so much for the time, dude. We appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys having me on, and I'm looking forward to being at the club and being in the city this weekend, you guys, and I appreciate it.
Well, ultimately, what we're looking for is fun on the snow. One of the things that we're finding that people don't realize is that your skis need constant maintenance. And by using our brand new Wintersteiger Mercury machine, we can make sure that we're always restoring your skis back to those factory settings. Going out with rusty ski edges, you're not going to be able to grip the snow properly. You're not going to be able to really carve into the ice the way that your ski's designed to perform. But after having a fresh tune-up on the Wintersteiger Mercury machine at Alpenhaus, all of that's possible.
Not using your CPAP? Don't get banished to the couch. Dr. Frederick Dreyer can help with a custom-fit device you can't see or hear. Just pop it in and get a good night's rest. Call the Integrative Sleep Center today. Now that's more like it.
At Marcella's Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on for cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair. You can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, Genair, and many more. Shop Marcella's Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
And now, your weekly NFL Pick'em. Presented by Pick Six Vodka.
All right, Bags, let's go. Our weekly NFL Pick'em here on Onorato and Bagnardi. You heard the announcer, presented by Pick Six Vodka, Saratoga Courage Distillery. I was just hanging with our guy, Adam Luciano, yesterday. To talk about the partnership that is so good here on Onorato and Bagnardi, and he gave me one of these. So he gave me a bunch of these. And so the people who have defeated us in this weekly challenge, of which there are a few.
Too many.
I would agree.
Both of us, so that's pretty bad that, the record we have, and it's gone the wrong direction, man.
Right. You got to beat both of us. And so the winners will receive a hat, and we're putting together a little nice Pick Six Vodka care package, if you will, for the winners on Onorato and Bagnardi's NFL Pick'em each and every week. How are we doing, Shawnee? Not great, Chris. Yes. I was 2-4 last week.
You want me
So
to
were you.
go? Sounds like you got this. You're going to do both parts, which some people might prefer. Yeah, look at these numbers, man. 2-4. Oh. Yeah.
And our viewer last week, Kelly O'Donnell, was 4-2. So honestly, the swing game was the Giants game. Kelly picked the Giants. You and I both picked the Eagles. That was the swing game. We would have all been 3-3 if Philly had done its job.
Which he still would have then won. I said you have to beat us both. You actually just said tie the top person. Dude, I'm 12 games under 500.
Yeah, we got to get this going for you, man. Let's go.
Major disappointment.
Yeah.
For me now to finish at 500, it's going to be a huge. Well, I'm going to have to retool my whole team here. I need a big move at the trading deadline to go out because we got to pick up games somewhere. And I don't know, man. I feel like we had done better when we did this over at the radio station. Maybe I'm wrong, but
we were combined. We weren't separate then, and I think the two of us combined picking, we were a few games over 500, but it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, and I get it. I had your genius picks to help me along the way here, but 12 games. All right, let's get into it and see if we can pick up some here.
All right, if you are hanging out this weekend, going out to watch NFL games, here are a few of our recommendations where you can go out and get a Moscow Mule the way I did yesterday with a little Pick Six vodka. Make it a Pick Six and Club if you want. Whatever your drink is, if you're there early, do a little screwdriver, right? Before you get going for the games, a little Pick Six vodka and orange juice. Swifties in Albany, great spot. Big supporter and partner with Saratoga Courage Distillery and Pick Six Vodka. Bootleggers in Troy. Check them out. Pam's Pub in Clifton Park. How about Dinosaur Barbecue? Another spot in Troy you can check out. And go see our guy Craig Allen at All-Star Wine and Spirits in Latham Farms. Pick up a bottle of Pick Six Vodka if you just want to hang at home the way I do on a Sunday with the Red Zone channel. And then the Packers generally find a national game of the week as well. Here are our games this week. We pick 6 each and every week. And our viewer this week is Carol Young. And Carol's one of our biggest supporters here of the show. What did she do this past week, Bags?
So I got to work and I had an email from our production manager that said there are boxes in the shipping room area for you and Chris. All right. Okay, that's a little unusual. Went, checked it out. And I opened it, man, and let's see. You don't have a picture, right? I can show the picture here. It's on my phone, but whatever. Look at this. A beautiful Christmas wreath in the box from LL Bean. 2 of them, man. One for each of us, obviously. Carol Young, our super fan, our devoted viewer, who, as you mentioned, is our guest picker this week. Carol, we cannot thank you enough. It is certainly not necessary, but it is much appreciated from both Chris and myself. The wreath is beautiful. By the way, real. I mean, you open it, the smell is beautiful. It's Christmas in a box, and we cannot thank you enough. So please, you don't have to do anything like that, but it was very nice of you to do.
Yeah, it's hanging on our front door. Ashley hung it yesterday. I think we got it home and hung it on the front door. Yes, again, thank you. It is so incredibly unnecessary. We do appreciate it, but people who are watching, you really do not send us anything. We should be sending you stuff, and we will eventually if you beat us in this Pick Six NFL Pick'em. All right, Beggs, let's get moving here because we're going to run out of time quickly the way we generally do. And we've got college football stuff to get to here as well as seismic moves in the coaching game. Giants, Dolphins.
Yeah.
Dolphins are 2.5-point favorite and no Daniel Jones. I didn't check the line this morning. No Daniel Jones at quarterback for the Giants. This one feels like a slam dunk Miami, a team that's really been playing well lately. Giants are even though they beat Philly last week and looked good doing it with the defense. To me, this still felt like, boy, it's got to be the Dolphins because they've been playing so well. Look at you.
Yeah, I disagree. I think the Dolphins have overachieved a little bit. I don't think they're a very good team. And I know there's no Daniel Jones, but you talked about it. The defense last week showed me a little something. And Saquon Barkley's back now, right? So I like the Giants here because to give me a couple of points, and I think they're actually going to go out and win this game. So I'm
right.
New York. I think they're gonna ground and pound. They're gonna run the football a lot with no Daniel Jones. Saquon could have a big game, and the defense is good enough to keep them in it.
All right, next game, Eagles laid an egg at MetLife. I mean, laid an. I talked up Jalen Hurts and his QBR and the numbers he's compiled over 2 years and how historic they were in terms of some of the other great quarterbacks of the same mold, like the Kyler Murrays. Laid an egg.
Yep.
In a conference where that 7th and 6th spot are really still in play. Philly at your Jets, 7.5 as a road favorite, Bags.
Did they go home? They just hang out in New York, right?
They went home. It's Philadelphia. It's right. You know.
I know.
First of all, it's New Jersey. Okay.
I know. Well, I know. Yeah. No, look, 7.5 is a good number for my Jets team against a team that you said laid an egg. You know what? I hate it. I hate doing this because every time I pick the Jets, it feels like it goes the opposite way. And when I don't pick them, they find a way to win. So for the sake of the Jets, I really shouldn't be picking them. But you got to go with your gut in these things. 7.5. Yeah, they might still go out there and lose, but maybe it's by just a field goal or two. So I'll take the Jets and the points.
All right, Sam is picking the Jets too. But the pick that really matters is Carol's here because an opportunity for her to steal one on us, Bags. She likes the Eagles to cover the 7.5 points. Okay, that would be certainly a bounce back game. I'm falling into the trap and the idea that more than a touchdown is too much to beat the Jets by. Zach Wilson's back. Maybe the defense plays as well as it played against Houston. We'll see. Chargers and the Bengals. This one's just kind of an interesting one because two teams in the AFC playoff picture. Bengals still with a shot to win that. Well, so the Chargers have a shot to win the AFC West. Bengals have a shot to win the AFC North here. Neither one of these teams out of their divisional race. And the Bengals, man, did they put a beating on Pittsburgh last week? Did you pick Pittsburgh last week? We both did, I think.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
I did as well. And I mean, that game was infuriating from the start if you were on the Pittsburgh side the way Sean and I were. So here comes Justin Herbert into Cincinnati. And what are we feeling about this one?
It's a close one, coin flip one for me. I took the Chargers.
Yeah, I'm on Cincinnati here, and I'm making the mistake of believing what I saw a week prior in the NFL will translate to the current week. This season, we talk about parity all the time in the NFL. Oh, there's so much parity. Usually that's generally season to season. Like a team can turn things around somewhat quickly as a franchise in this league. But this is week to week, man. Like if Cincinnati, who looked great last week, puts up a total dud, it will literally just fall in line with everything else we've seen this season from most teams. There have not been a lot of consistent teams. Arizona, yes. Green Bay, yes, in the NFC. But it's particularly in the AFC, man, is there a team where you feel like you know what you're getting each and every week? I don't know if there is one of those for me now.
I know. Yeah. Again, really felt like a coin flip game. We got to bring in Nick's comment here because, he's a guy. He actually signs everything who day. Like I think he actually says that at the end of every sentence, like a true Bengals fan. He's like
every phone conversation.
Yeah. I love you. I love you too. Who day? But that's it. That's how he ends a conversation. He's at the grocery store, paper or plastic, which they haven't said in 20 years.
Oh, no.
Paper, who day? Like that's it. That's how he rolls, which I appreciate. He's going to be very unhappy with my pick of the Chargers. Honestly, though, this one, the Bengals at home, I'm already second guessing it. So it's tough. Give me the Chargers, and I like that I got a chance here to make up a game on the viewer. That's what it's all about right now.
And obviously not a big number, just 2.5. All right, Ravens are road favorites here, going to Pittsburgh. Again, everybody is going to jump off the Steelers here because of how they played last week. And so I'll say it again, it will not surprise me if all of a sudden Pittsburgh looks like a playoff team this week against Lamar and Baltimore. Just a week-to-week thing. And so what am I doing, Bags? I'm going to make I'll say mistake for now and take Baltimore, same as you.
Okay, well, I think Baltimore – I'm with you. Baltimore's going to come out, and this will be like 10-0 Pittsburgh. Baltimore will be really slow. They'll be terrible in the first half. We're going to think they're going to lose. They'll turn it on in the second half and win this game by enough here. Although, who was favored? Pittsburgh's favorite?
Baltimore. No, oh, that's in the wrong spot. Baltimore's a 3.5-point favorite here.
Okay, so they'll probably win by 3 and we'll lose, whatever. But I think they're going to win this game at 8-3 against a team that's 500, right? I mean, that's what it really comes down to. I know it's a division game. I know it's on the road. I know Pittsburgh can – it's really which team are you going to get. Ravens got to go get this game, right? I mean, this is a game for them now as we get later in the season. They got to really assert themselves in some AFC dominance here. So let's see them go out and win this game.
All right. Broncos and Chiefs, an AFC West matchup here. Kansas City's been playing very well.
Yep.
Very, very well. The defense included in that. The unit that was just getting railed on by everybody in the first 6-7 games of the season. Well, here they are now 7-4, leading that division. And a kind of a big number, but we like to talk about the primetime games and the primetime players. Here we are Sunday night, Kansas City at home against Denver. And I got to feel, well, I think I know where you're going already here just because you shook your head in some agreement that like Kansas City's been playing. What? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We're all on the Chiefs. And I feel kind of good about it, honestly.
Yeah. Don't have to say much about this one other than that they are looking like they're right. And when they're right, 9.5 is not a big number for this team.
All right. I don't know if this is the best game of the weekend, but it's the most interesting game of the weekend, isn't it? The Monday nighter.
Yeah.
Patriots and Bills. Feels like they finally get a good matchup on Monday night here in Buffalo. By the way, I had a chance to go to this game. Couldn't pull it off because of some scheduling stuff next week. But that would have been a lot. It'd be cold, first of all. But it would have been a lot of fun with first place in the AFC East on the line between New England and Buffalo. This is the type of primetime game, okay, that the city of Buffalo and Bills fans across the country cry for. Mm-hmm. They want so desperately to get the primetime spotlight and in a matchup like this. So here's your opportunity, Bills, to deliver on this opportunity to beat the Patriots and to take back first place in the AFC East. And Bags and I both say they'll get it done. Carroll's in a couple of good spots here.
Yeah. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be another one where somebody's going to win by a lot this week because of the difference on the picks. Yeah, New England trending the right way overall here the last several weeks. Buffalo trending the wrong way. At home, essentially you feel like it's for the division, even though it's not. There's enough football left to be played.
And they will play one more time in the month of December.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this is one at home.
Correct.
You've got to go get this thing if you're the Bills. So I like them to be okay in this one, but I know Belichick's going to be prepared, and nothing would surprise me.
Yeah, I know. I'm riding with the Bills here that they're going to do what they should do, and that is find a way to win a primetime game at home against the Patriots.
This game at home, they will not win the division.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, here we go. Carol is on an island with her Eagles. She's a big Eagles fan. Island with the Steelers. Island with the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
Feels a lot like last week. Big opportunity there for our viewer Carol Young to beat us in this NFL pick'em, and maybe a little Pick Six Vodka gear would be headed her way. We certainly owe her that. If you're going out this weekend to watch games, Bags, how about Arsenal City Tavern, Watervliet? O'Toole's in Albany is a good spot. Ship's Pub, the Ship, which we know well, not far from the TV station here. That's probably technically Albany. We're in Menands. I don't know. Ship's up the road. Is that technically Albany? Okay. Rivers Casino and Resort. Nice spot along the Mohawk in Schenectady. And then Purdy's Liquor up in Saratoga Springs. A good spot to just get a bottle of Pick Six Vodka so you can enjoy at home as you watch NFL games on a Sunday. When we come back here on Onorato and Bagnardi, we got a lot to talk about here in a finite amount of time in terms of what's happening in college football. We're going to get to that next here on Onorato and Bagnardi. Hang on, back right after this.
Hey folks, DJ with Professional Fire Restoration, and we've been turning crisis into calm for a half a century.
Imagine waking up one morning and having your house on fire. Nobody ever thinks it can happen to them, but it happened to my family. The first thing I did was call Professional Fire Restoration. From start to finish, DJ was there every step of the way. Thank God I made the right call. They turned crisis into calm for my family.
What only the best will do, you know who to call.
Professional Fire Restoration.
Teams, athletes, organizations. We're transforming the custom apparel industry through products and purpose. Claim your crown.
And now, back to Onorato and Bagnardi. Brought to you by Alpin House.
What a wild few days we had in college football with Brian Kelly leaving Notre Dame for LSU, with Lincoln Riley leaving Oklahoma for USC. And so I'll just ask here, which is the bigger move in college football? Is it Kelly leaving the Irish, Riley leaving the Sooners?
I'm inclined to say Kelly, but I want you to go first here because you know Kelly well as a big Notre Dame guy. What do you think?
Yep. Not surprised, honestly. I'll say disappointed just because he's a really good coach and he's won 10 games, 5 straight years. No coach in Notre Dame history has ever done that. He's the all-time winningest coach in Notre Dame history, 113 of them at Notre Dame. So, to me, it's a big loss for Notre Dame. I think he will do well at LSU, but I also think he got to the college football playoff twice. Ad nauseum, they get blown out every time. Okay.
Yep.
They got blown out of that 2012 BCS title game as well. I think Brian Kelly saw, you know what, if I want to win a championship, and that is ultimately what I want, I need to be in the SEC. I need to be at a program like LSU where the Tigers' last 3 head coaches have all won titles. So let me take my shot there. And oh, by the way, they're going to pay me more than $10 million a year. Sounds pretty good. I think that's the biggest move. The fact that, like, symbolically, a coach decided to leave Notre Dame, felt like there were greener pastures, not in the NFL,
right,
but in college football. That says a lot. I think Lincoln Riley will do really well at USC.
Okay. Do you think it was more about the money or more?
No, more about the opportunity to win a big game.
Do you think he will? I mean, now, yes, it's a place where we know he's going to be able to recruit talent, and not that he couldn't at Notre Dame, of course, but now you're really playing with the big boys. Any concern about that for him, that there's a setup for disappointment here? No, you think he's good enough to handle?
No, I don't know if they're still going to beat Alabama as long as Saban is there.
That's what I'm getting at.
Okay. But he's going to recruit well. I really have no doubt about that. Most coaches have been able to do that at LSU. There's no reason Brian Kelly won't do that. I think the symbolism of him leaving Notre Dame is really the big thing here. Like that it's a great job, but it's not viewed as a premier job.
Right.
This was fun. Our thanks to Michael Rapaport for joining us on the show this week. Go check him out at the Funny Bone Bags. Have a great weekend.
You too, man.